Am I the a-hole for denying my dad's wife and her kids as my family and reminding my dad he made the choice to stay when I had no say? I-20 male was 5 when my dad married Ellen. Ellen was a widow and she had 5 kids. Her oldest 4 were all older, as in late teens to 20s. Her youngest was 7. My mom bailed on me when I was 3, so I didn't have an active mom and I was an only child. Ellen didn't fill any motherly role for me, and her kids made it clear that I was less than a stranger. Ellen's youngest never wanted to hang out or play with me. For a little while when we first started living together, I thought we would. But he always moved away or told me to go away when I tried to play or spend time with him. He ignored me the rest of the time and would sometimes refuse to say anything when I talked to him. Ellen's older kids would all come and visit their brother and ignore me. They'd bring him toys, candy, take him to see movies, or bring him for treats like McDonald's. Not only was I not welcome, but a few times they were asked to take me, and I'd hear it from them when they told me I wasn't their brother, and that meant I couldn't come, and I better not get upset about it, so they'd be asked again. Christmas and other holidays when they visited their brother were always like that. I was left out, and they were angry I was even there to begin with. My dad would try to cheer me up or spend a little extra on me, but it didn't help because I was living in a house where the kid around my age, who was supposed to be family, wanted nothing to do with me. And his siblings, who were supposedly my family too, wanted nothing to do with me and would be mean about excluding me. They liked rubbing it in. I was miserable, and I didn't have any extended family to fall back on, so I had to suck it up. I started avoiding celebrations when I could and focused on myself. When I did that, I heard Ellen's kids say stuff was better without me ruining everything, and that if only Dad was gone, it would be perfect. I decided to focus on getting out of Dad's house as soon as possible, and I couch surfed for months after I turned 18 before settling into a place with some friends. I still talk to Dad, but not a lot. He mentioned recently that I should come for a family dinner with him, Ellen, her kids, and some of her extended family. I told him they're not my family and I would not be welcome, so I won't be going. Dad told me we might not get along all the time, but we are family. I told him they're not, and he made the choice to stay knowing they rejected me, and now I wasn't going to pretend we're something we're not and never were. He told me it wasn't fair because he made sure I didn't miss out on stuff all the same. I told him being rejected by everyone else and ostracized in my own home was not made up for with a few material things. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I don't understand how a man can stay with a woman and in a family that is deliberately cruel to his child. How could he possibly love her? He's a despicable human being, and so are they. You are better off without the lot of them. I'm so sorry that your childhood was like that. Nothing will make up for it. I don't either. If I ever get to be a parent, I would never put a relationship before them like that. I'm gonna be blunt with you, OP, but your father stayed because he was getting laid and had feminine company, so his useless bum wouldn't be on his own. It's extremely common. As long as he got some pussy and was coddled by his wife, he couldn't care less about the crappy dad he was being to you. Sounds like your dad got to live a happy life at the expense of your happiness. Not the a-hole. You were not only abandoned by your mom, you were abandoned by your dad with him being within arm's reach. The fact that he was active in your life and watched this go down, then turned a blind eye? Unacceptable. I'm sorry, OP, that sucks. I hope you can heal and move past all of this. I don't know if it was fully happy. It was more like he chose the marriage because Ellen's kids don't want him around either. I can't imagine being happy with that even as an adult. Your dad is garbage. Yeah, I had horrible luck with parents. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-husband we will never be together, so just be a father and leave me alone? I don't know why my ex feels so entitled to my life. He literally has opinions on everything I do. We're not together anymore because of him, but he's mad at me. It's so confusing. Anyways, it might be a little confusing, but I'm still married to my husband though we're separated. I did sign the divorce papers, but it's taking a while for it to finalize, so we will call this man Tony. Tony and I have 3 kids. We knew each other since 12th grade and got married our sophomore year of college. Our relationship was good. Yes, we would argue, but every couple does that. We got a house together and everything. I really had faith in our relationship and thought it would last, but it didn't. 9 months ago, Tony got into a car accident with his friends. They were heading to one of their friend's funeral. None of them had their seatbelts on, so it caused many injuries. Tony had broken bones in his legs and a concussion since he was the one driving, so now he talks very slowly and needs help to think about certain things. It was a lot at that moment. He had to be in a wheelchair, and I was the only one there for him no matter what. Even when he would catch an attitude with me, sit in a dark room alone, or when his father passed, I still did everything for him. But while I was being the good wife, he was cheating on me with some woman online. I also found out that she had been to our house. I was honestly over it because they're both disgusting people. But mind you, during that time, I gave birth to our third daughter while I was taking care of him. I was still in denial and processing everything, so it took me time to get in contact with a lawyer. I already knew it would be hard on the kids. They noticed it all. Anyways, Tony stays with his mom now, but he does see the kids. I decided to drop them off because I was going in that direction to run errands, that was all. When I got to the house, I told Tony I was outside. He came out and helped the kids get settled inside. That's when he stayed outside to talk. I was ready to leave, but he got straight to it. He said he doesn't want to get divorced, so we should talk about it because the kids are going through it too. Who set that system up? They're going through this because of him. I was brutally honest. I told him that after what he did, we will never be together again, so just be a father to the kids and leave me alone. I am wondering if the brain injury has affected his inhibitions. Brain injury can lead to disinhibition, which is a loss of the ability to control or suppress inappropriate thoughts, behaviors, or actions. This can manifest as impulsivity, difficulty with social situations, and changes in personality. Disinhibition is a common issue after a traumatic brain injury, TBI. It could be that TBI kind of led to him cheating. That doesn't mean you have to stay married to him, but maybe you give him some grace while keeping your boundaries. Another option is to talk to his mom about how you were taking care of him and having his baby while he was cheating on you, and you would prefer it if she handled any child exchanges. And tell him you want to use a parenting app to communicate. I gave him grace that he was in an accident, but he chose to cheat, so that's it. I don't want anything to do with him, just want him to worry about the kids and less about our broken relationship. His mother is no better. She doesn't care. She enables him, so I'm on my own to support this. But yes, the app is a smart idea. I'll have to go through with that. I'm sorry, but the part that stands out to me is none of them wore seat belts in the wreck he was in. Yeesh, all fools. Not the a-hole. Definitely. I was mad at all of them in that car because what the heck was going through their heads? They could have hurt other people, but my feelings were so conflicted at that time. I hope they learned their lesson. I did sign the divorce papers, but it's taking a while for it to finalize. Has your attorney confirmed both sides have submitted all the required signed paperwork to the court? Honestly, he hasn't said anything about that. He only told me that everything looks good, so it wouldn't be hard for me to finalize the divorce. But I'm going to call him today and ask him, so thank you for bringing it up. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my teenage stepson that I won't let him use my VA benefits to pay for his college? I, 46 male, am a 100% disabled veteran. I've been married to my wife for several years, and she has a son from a previous relationship. From the beginning, I've tried to be respectful of his feelings and never forced him to see me as a father, but I did hope we could at least build a cordial relationship over time. Unfortunately, that has never happened. My stepson has made it abundantly clear that he wants nothing to do with me or my 2 bio kids. He refuses to participate in family activities if I'm involved. For example, my wife once asked him to go to the store with her, and he agreed, until he found out the rest of us were coming. The moment he learned I would be there, he flat out refused to go. On a family vacation, he completely ignored me and my sons the entire trip, choosing to isolate himself instead of spending any time together. It's not just avoidance, though. He actively disrespects and undermines me whenever he gets the chance. He'll make comments to contradict me in front of my wife, disrupt conversations, and generally act like I'm an unwelcome guest in my own home. I've never been abusive or controlling. I've genuinely tried to reach out to him. At one point, my wife and I sat him down to ask what we could do to improve our relationship. His answer? Nothing. There's nothing we can do about it. I asked if he could at least change his behavior for the sake of his mom, since it clearly upsets her when he treats me this way. He looked me straight in the eye and said, "I'm not going to change anything, even if it hurts her." That stung, not because I expected him to suddenly love me, but because it showed he had zero interest in even being civil for his own mother's sake. Recently, my wife brought up the idea of me using my VA education benefits to pay for his college. These benefits are something I earned through my service, and I have the option to transfer them to dependents. However, I feel strongly that they should go to someone who has at least shown me respect and a willingness to have a relationship. My bio kids have been nothing but supportive, and I've always planned to share my benefits with them. When I told my wife I wasn't comfortable giving my stepson my benefits, she was not happy. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to let my stepson use my disabled veteran benefits for college? Now for the comments. Why did you and your wife move in and get married with him behaving this way? We wouldn't have if his behavior was like this in the beginning or earlier in the relationship. It went from being a little rocky, good times and some rough times, to wanting nothing to do with me in the year and a half. Question: do you think it's because your sons are trying to form a relationship with him and want to be close brothers that he's starting to get annoyed and resent you for being in his life? I feel like it's because he gets to see his brothers with their dad all the time. Sounds like everyone could benefit from family and individual therapy. Agreed, and currently working on making that happen. If you are not going to give him the benefits, make that clear now and also help him look for scholarships and different military options. Since you are disabled, that might not endear him to the military, but with enough warning, he might earn lots of scholarships. His mom and I have sat down with him for me to tell him this. I also told him that he needs to look into and learn about scholarships. When he's 18, tell him to earn his own GI Bill benefits. I'd totally support that idea and be extremely proud of him for that. He's a wicked, smart young man. I've mentioned to him a couple of times about the Navy's nuclear program and how he'd be set for life after 5 years of service. Last story. Would I be the a-hole if I told my wife that I didn't want to take extended family vacations anymore? So I, 44 male, took a vacation with my wife, 43 female, son, 5 male, mother-in-law, 65 female, sister-in-law, 38 female, and her 2 boys, 10 and 12. We all shared one vehicle and Airbnbs. We had a lot of activities and had fun, but the times in between were stressful. I love my wife's family, but there are things they do which grate on me. My nephews are good, well-behaved children, but like my own son and many other boys, they are either completely running full pedal to the metal or sleeping. My sister-in-law and mother-in-law have the habit of constantly interjecting while driving, which is a trigger of mine. When stressed, I put on music to calm me, but when I turned it on, they all complained they didn't like it. They have the habit of asking me a question about what I think, then questioning and picking apart my answer. It takes too long and they interrupt and come to their own conclusion. I have ADHD. When trying to explain what ADHD means for my thought processes or memory, my wife dismisses me with, "Well, you're taking medication. Shouldn't that fix it?" I need time with quiet and little disruption or stimulation. This is usually playing a game or reading a book on my Kindle app. When I try to do this, I get my extended family nagging me to get off my phone. While I did have fun and enjoyable times during many of the planned activities, I had no time to decompress or de-stress. It usually ended up being stressful with no time at all alone. When taking vacations with just my wife and son, I actually get decompression time. I really do not want to take another vacation driving great distances with extended family again. 7 people in one vehicle that is overstuffed with luggage and constant noise, especially when I get berated for doing things to prevent myself from being bothered by it. Would I be the a-hole if I told her I would like to not take vacations like this anymore? Or maybe go to renting 2 vehicles and having separate accommodations from family? I understand sharing Airbnbs and a vehicle cuts costs, but it came at the cost of my sanity and mental health. Brother, what you went on wasn't a vacation. It was a rolling fart-scented daycare van, powered by passive aggression and the sheer willpower of your last functioning brain cell. You weren't a tourist LOL. You were the unpaid bus driver, cruise director, and emotional punching bag for a family caravan like out of the movie Mad Max. Your mother-in-law and sister-in-law sound like they were running live GPS commentary in your ear like a NASCAR pit crew from hell, except instead of giving you tire pressure updates, they're arguing about your music taste and dissecting your opinions like a frog in middle school science class. The nephews? Harmless kids, sure, but operating at only 2 speeds, Olympic sprinter and coma. Meanwhile, every time you try to touch a phone or Kindle for a scrap of peace, they swarm you like you just pulled out a briefcase full of heroin. And God forbid you bring up your ADHD. Your wife will treat it like a busted toaster you should have just fixed by now. No quiet time, no personal space, and 7 humans in one overstuffed clown car crammed tighter than the last 4 squares of Monopoly board before someone flips it. You're not the bad guy for wanting 2 cars and separate sleeping quarters next time. You're the last sane man in a traveling asylum. Do not let them gaslight you into thinking cutting costs is worth cutting your soul in half. Tell your wife straight. Either we split the group up next time, or the only vacation I'm taking is to the couch with noise-canceling headphones and a fake out-of-office email reply. It got to the point where they didn't like how agitated I got while driving and took over driving the rental themselves, despite me being the only registered driver on it. Speak to your wife. Send her a link to this thread, because if strangers on the internet can understand this crap show of a vacation, she should as well. If random internet folks can see why this setup was a nightmare for you, your wife should be able to as well once you lay it out clearly. If his wife cannot see it clearly without him saying it or downplaying it when he speaks, then she simply doesn't care. Both me and my husband are introverts, me more than him, and I easily get overwhelmed. I don't need to say anything to him for him to realize I'm not doing okay.